Sinister salutations, my best benighted ones. This is Ghoulie Herb, your sultan of spooktacular cinema, back with another peek at a decade from the past that gave us something to shiver about in theaters, and now returns to haunt us on home video. The suspense is killing me. So, before I take an untimely trip to the Undertaker, let's conjure up the weird wheel. Talk about popping wheelies. Now, let's spin this sucker. Oh, the nerve-wracking 90s. Talk about your frightening decade. Any era with the Spice Girls or Monica Lewinsky is terrifying enough. But the 1990s also gave us scads of sequels, many of them frighteningly forgettable. Amityville horror follow-ups, An American Werewolf in Paris, a double dose of basket case films, 3 Candyman movies, several Children of the Corn come-ons, and more critters, phantasms, Halloweens, scanners, leprechauns, aliens, and even puppet masters than you can shake a stake at. Ha 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 ha! It's all enough to make you scream! And speaking of scream, there were 3 of those, beginning with the 1996 original from Shocker veteran Wes Craven, in which teens are terrified by a mass killer who uses phone calls and movie references to get them spooked. Movie references? As if there was anything scary about somebody who knows a lot about horror movies. The cast of Scream reads like a who's who of Generation X stars. Drew Barrymore, Courtney Cox, David Arquette, Neve Campbell, Rose McGowan, Jamie Kennedy. It was a monstrous success, and not only begat a batch of sequels with another one coming in the near future, but also the Goofy Scary Movie franchise. Did you know that at different times Molly Ringwald, Freddie Prinze Jr., Janine Garofalo, and Melissa Joan Hart were supposed to play parts in the film? Or that Linda Blair of The Exorcist fame has a cameo in Scream? 1991 saw the first horror film ever win the Academy Award for Best Picture. Jonathan Demme's Silence of the Lambs, with Anthony Hopkins as serial killer Dr. Hannibal Lecter, helping FBI agent Jodie Foster track down another murderer nicknamed Buffalo Bill. Along with the Oscar for Best Picture, this shocker brought home statuettes for Hopkins, Foster, Demme, and even screenwriter Ted Talley. It also spawned several sequels of its own, including Hannibal and Red Dragon, actually a remake of Michael Mann's 1986 thriller Manhunter. At one time, Gene Hackman was set to direct and star in Silence, but he found the material much too bleak. The same for Michelle Pfeiffer, director Demme's original choice for Jodie Foster's Clarice. Francis Coppola introduced himself to Bram Stoker's Dracula in 1992, coupling lush production design to silent era special effect techniques. Gary Oldman starred as the pale count of centuries-old passions, growing ever younger while thirsting on the misfortunes of legendary characters played by Winona Ryder, Anthony Hopkins, and a miscast Keanu Reeves. It was co-star Ryder who brought the project to Coppola. It was first proposed as a TV movie. Mixed reviews ensued, but box office reaction was good enough that Coppola godfathered Kenneth Branagh's version of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein 2 years later. Many critics took their torches to Robert De Niro, like angry villagers, over a portrayal of the monster that left very few of us in stitches. Supposedly, things were not all hunky-dory on the set between Branagh and Coppola, who had first planned to direct the film himself. In fact, when Kenny said no to the edits suggested by Francis, he denounced the finished movie in public. The horror! The horror! Quentin Tarantino, quite the big kahuna, joined forces with indie darling Robert Rodriguez for From Dusk Till Dawn, a wild tale of vampires down Mexico way. For fans of retro exploitation, this one delivered blood, sweat, and sex in the guises of hunky George Clooney and Hubba Hubba Salma Hayek, who played a dancer named Satanico Pandemonium. Last but not least, a new young filmmaker named M. Night Shyamalan scored big with 1999's The Sixth Sense, a sleeper sensation with young Haley Joel Osment as a Philly kid who sees dead people, and Bruce Willis as his understanding shrink. The movie's signature line, "I see dead people," was voted the 44th greatest movie line of all time in American Film Institute poll, and has been spoofed in everything from the film's Scary Movie to an episode of Hannah Montana. And you thought "Yo, Adrian" was the best bit of dialogue from a Philadelphia based film. Our time is just about up for now. Oh well, no time to get to that little horror movie that could, The Blair Witch Project, or grim greats like Castle Freak or Interview with the Vampire, or the team-oriented horror movie I Know What You Did Last Summer, or even those diabolical foreign delights, Day of the Beast, Cemetery Man, or Ringu. So, until next time, adios, arrivederci, sayonara.